Good, everyone? Coming off of a big win on the esports league held on the UFC's Twitch. I'm going to be breaking down the game plan behind the victory over triple champ Suave Jamie. And I went with a 4-star pick that not a lot of people use in competition, which was Zabit Magomedsharipov. Now, you can see here by his perks, he's pretty good off his back. He has mainly grappling heavy perks. He's not necessarily the best in the pocket. His punch speed is okay. His punch power is definitely not that good. But his takedown defense is pretty good. His kick power is kick speed is 94. His grappling, however, is pretty solid. Good solid top control. Good submission offense. Decent in the clinch. Health stats, they could be better. His body health is definitely something susceptible to heavy damage. But overall, he's a well-rounded character if you use him correctly. And with this game plan, I was playing with a lot of high-level players, other USFL champions and whatnot. And we were just going against like what would be the worst potential matchups or what would be the likely matchups. So really, it came down to Alexander Volkanovski, Conor McGregor, and Brian Ortega. Now, everybody knows what Volkanovski is. You can see with Zabit, the grappling stats are pretty close together. But Volkanovski's health stats are absolutely insane. They're absolutely insane. All of those are a bit of an issue because of the takedown defense. But the range is in my favor. But still, the leg kicks are an issue. McGregor, the boxing by itself and the health stats, the extremely high chin, the body health, his recovery and cardio is something that can be used against him, especially if I try to grapple Conor. But the power and being in the pocket is the hugest risk, especially with the low block health of Zabit Magomedsharipov. And Ortega, a little bit easier to deal with on the feet when it comes in comparison to McGregor, Aldo, Volkanovski, and all the guys. But off his back, he's an absolute problem. So I'm going to go into detail with what was the game plan heading into this matchup on the Esports Fight League. So key thing was the beat. He has options to the Osotogari. He can hit all of the back turns. He has all the jiu-jitsu, almost all the jiu-jitsu trips, and he can hit the counter trip as well. Move level wise, his jab, straight, and lead hook are his best punches. Everything else, and also his lead body hook and body jab. But everything else, it's pretty low rated, and it's not all of his kicks have been updated to the proper level. So the body roundhouse and the head roundhouse, those aren't as ideal as they should be. So it's a bit of a disadvantage with Zabit. And if you can see here where when it comes to Volkanovski, his punch is way better than Zabit's. His lead leg kicks are level 5, obviously. The other kicks, the rangier kicks, are in my favor when it comes to Zabit, especially when it comes to all the spinning stuff. The spinning heel kick, obviously, has the cartwheel kick. You can throw that out of nowhere. A lot of the stuff here, it hasn't been fully updated for Zabit for whatever reason, and that was a huge risk that I was kind of taking. But I was pretty confident I could use what he's good at. You know, you got to play what he's good at. And staying in the pocket with either Volkanovski and Conor or Aldo or Holloway, whoever the hell he could have chosen, it wasn't going to be ideal. So Volkanovski, grappling wise, he has access to, like I said, to the good takedowns. As I was checking out the move sets and the powers and all that good stuff, he has access to some good stuff. He's not as much as a submission threat as the beat. You know, you don't have to necessarily worry about a Kimura from side control. You don't have to worry about there's not a lot of submissions you have to worry about when it comes to Volkanovski. But Zabit, however, he has all the takedowns. Whether it's going to be off the back drive or it's going to be off the forward drive. I don't know if you guys know, like you can go back and forward. So, without further ado, we're going to get into covering what would be the game plan. For all three of them, taking them down would be ideal. Ortega would definitely be more striking oriented. And I think that one I don't really have to get too in depth with. Obviously, the range is the beat's a huge advantage. Also, with Conor, definitely like holding him down was going to be the ideal thing. But Volkanovski, Volk. That guy, him or Ortega would have been a bigger issue. So, one good thing about the taller fighter, especially with a height disparity like this, it's a lot easier for Zabit to pull strikes, especially against shorter fighters. And even when it comes to the Osotogari, it's a little bit easier to hit it on Volkanovski once you get a player using him to overcommit. So I kept that in mind. Along with that, you still have to avoid staying in the pocket when you're using or going against Volkanovski, right? Trying to go and swing, out-hook him or uppercut him is not going to work. So if this was the case, I was going to double leg bail and get to over-under to deter the pressure. And there's the option to pull the sweep into top mount if I would like to do so. So especially when it comes to these guys who have high punching power, good solid boxing. You do not want them pressuring you. You do not want to play the who can lower the short-term block game first, because they're going to win that 9 times out of 10. So using the bail would be ideal. I did keep in mind, sprawl beats the OU bail. But if I end up against the cage, I do have a fast transition to get up into dominant single under if it doesn't get denied. And here, part of the game plan here is going to be using one of the back drives in case Jamie denies the initial back drive. So once the initial back drive is denied, I have 2 options to go here. And you'll see, after the first step, I'm going to go down on the left stick. And it's going to initiate a trip that's going to sweep out Volkanovski's leg and take him right into side control. So that's going to be huge in the fight. Yeah, but especially when it comes to the double leg bail, especially against a quality player, you're not going to be able to get too many things with them at once if you don't mix it up. So another option here with the back drive, if I believe he starts to catch on to the bottom drive, right, I'm going to go up on the left stick, right, after starting the back drive. And this is, I'm always ready to initiate the turn drive because most good players are going to deny it initially. And here, I used up on the left stick, and it takes him down into side control. The controls are inverted when you're on the other side. See right here? Get crazy camera. If I get my double leg bail denied and I end up here, and if Jamie were to deny it, it's going to shift me, and then I'm going to end up in sprawl away from the cage, and I can't get up there. And if I bail, there's still a risk. Volkanovski doesn't have options to the counter takedown from here, but he can hit me with a single under counter, put me in single under. So if at the moment I see his hand come up, I'm going to input L2 and square to override that and get underneath the arm. So that was another big part of the game plan to watch out for, especially when trying to use the double leg bail. Now the single leg bail back with the right stick, it can be pre-denied and it can be TD countered. And Volkanovski does have the double leg judo counter, hip toss into the side saddle. So only way I'm going to get this is if he doesn't pre-deny or doesn't early deny it. If he late denies it, it's going to be easier for me to bail, and I'll get to the back clinch position here. Here, when I go for a forward drive, I'll go up on the left stick, and it'll go take him right down into backside. This is what's going to happen if he denies the initial forward drive. What happens if I get the initial forward drive? It's just going to be a regular takedown to backside. Low energy, he didn't deny it, nothing happens. And then I just got to focus on control. So a big portion of this game plan is going to be about control. Winning the rounds and securing the fight. All right, and if he builds back up, instead of going up, I'm going to go down and then hook the leg, and it'll take him right into back sitting. All right, so it's going to go for the forward drive, and if, like most good players do, they're going to deny it initially, I'm going to hook in this leg and then down on the left stick. If he were to late deny, he'd be able to slip out, and then I would be in huge trouble because my short-term stamina would be low. My block, I'd get Shrek, bro. I'd get totally Shrek if he would have denied that. So, that's for a good amount of takedowns there. Now, if he goes and chooses Conor, I don't even have to get into Conor's moveset for y'all to know how dangerous he is. You just have to avoid being in the pocket with him at all cost. You're not going to outbox Conor with a beat. Like, it's just not going to happen. Like, you got to avoid that. You got to avoid it, bro. His cross is extremely deadly, but if he tries to throw single crosses, I had a plan to slip into over-under, and then from there take him to the cage or initiate another takedown, because that cross is extremely deadly. You also have to make sure when you're going against Conor, especially with Zabit, and the way Jamie plays, he loves his body uppercuts. So I had side steps ready for Jamie. So whether he was going to go for like the body teep, or he's going to go for like the jab spin kick or the jab body uppercut, which he landed really well on me in our first fight on the Heem tournament. The sidestep is going to work well. It's a lot harder to sidestep, though, when you're in opposite stances against Conor for some reason. I think it has to do with his accuracy. So, having these counters on lock and then drilling them on point was a huge, huge part. So, it would stop him from throwing willy-nilly without me throwing anything back. Here, I'm trying to sidestep from orthodox just to show y'all. It's just a lot harder, and it's not good at all. And one of his favorite combinations that I noticed, the rear body uppercut to lead body uppercut. So if you sidestep the rear body uppercut and then you fire up the uppercut, it's a high vulnerability counter, and it's a wrap from there. Here I'll be covering Zabit's sub threats. Now he has the leg locks from up full guard. If you have a stamina advantage in stack guard, you can actually initiate a knee bar from here, or heel hook, or whatever the hell it's going to be. And so that's another good submission, especially against Conor. And if you're on top in a half guard postured up and you get a short-term stamina advantage, right? You're gonna have move, and then you can initiate the knee bar. And if he elects to try to go for back sitting, go to backside, you can deny with L2, R2, and then be able to initiate the knee bar from there as well. So that's 3 solid submission threats with Zabit, especially with them being joint subs. They're pretty strong. And another good submission, there's the TD counter submission here with the guillotine, but I don't really recommend it. This is like a last-ditch effort type of thing, because as you get deeper into the submission, you don't flip into a dominant position. You're always going to give up half guard, I believe. I think it's going to be half guard, right? Yeah, you're going to give up half guard. You're not going to get a dominant position with the choke. So it's really risky to go for that, but that's just another solid submission threat with Zabit. If I get to this position, right? Going to move into backside, going to get Conor to go into sprawl. If I go into, stop him there, go into backside, and then go into back mount. This rear naked choke isn't necessarily that strong. You get to back flat. Positionally, it's one of the best chokes in this game due to the degree of difficulty it is to even get to back flat in the first place. This should show you how fast this bar fills up and at a high stamina. Like, this is a devastating position, and the gates or like the transition speed just goes so fast. It's one of the best subs in this game. And if I had gotten here in this position, it was one of the best choke subs in the game, even with all the nerfs. It's crazy. So now we're going to move on to Brian Ortega. The main thing with Brian Ortega, he has way more submission threats in comparison to Zabit and Volk and Conor. All those other guys, it'd be a lot easier to control than Ortega, because Ortega, it just takes one denial and the fight can be a wrap. He has the Camaro there, as you saw previously, the armbar guillotine triangle choke that can be chained. And he also has rubber guard. And rubber guard, if you get denied in rubber guard, your short-term stamina is low. You can get flipped into top mount, where Ortega has the armbar and the gogoplata. And just, if they want to, somebody wants to have you in rubber guard and they keep denying you and they keep landing while your short-term stamina is low. As you can see there, my head's getting shreked by Brian. It's a really devastating position. This would have been the worst matchup for Zabit, personally. I have no issue. I can control Volk a lot easier, but Brian off of his back is just absolutely absurd. And if he were to get top mount and go for an armbar, or the gogoplata is a choke sub that's not really that high percentage, it doesn't really work well, armbar would have been a huge issue. Plus, Ortega also has the crucifix, along with the Kimura threat, along with the inverted triangle, and then the Peruvian necktie, which is a lot stronger than the Anaconda or guillotine from there for some reason. So, I thought he was going to go Ortega for our fight. I really thought he was going to go Ortega for our fight, because he probably thought I was going to go Ortega, because he can strike. Ortega got the boxing for it. He has the solid striking stats for it, and he would have been a perfect counter pick for Zabit. So going into the fight, he didn't go with Volk. He didn't go with Ortega. He ended up going with Conor McGregor. So without further ado, we're going to get into the fight. So funny thing here, he actually started the fight, and he had it as 5 rounds, and I took him down early with no Sotogari, and then we had to restart. So gave him an extra win there, and I was like, the tracker, the cursed tracker. But anywho, now Sotogari, it's going to be hard. Against any quality player, it's going to be really hard to take him down if you're not careful, especially somebody as dangerous as Conor. Doesn't matter all the grappling advantages. Here, already right out the gate, he tries to go for the jab, lead body side kick, but it turns into a knee because he's a little bit too close. Here, I get to the clinch. I go to the guillotine because I want him to start blocking high. I want him to get worried about the takedown. Good leg kick lands on him. Has some good, decent damage. Jamie's going with his delayed striking that he likes to do, where he pauses a little bit. Here, I did not mean to do this. I just panicked because I whiffed the low single and I started pressing buttons. And I was like, whoa, holy crap, that shit was fast as hell. I didn't expect it to be that fast. Here I'm trying to disguise El Sotogari with the lead leg oblique fade. The only people that recognized that was Marshall Mind and Top Man Stan. Here, he tries to go for the jab body teep, the sidestep counter, just like I drilled. Land good, solid damage in round 1. And this is huge. This is huge because the game will reward you in the scoring when it comes to solid counters like that. Here, he tries to go for some body work. I hit him with a Sotogari. He late denies the trip, gets the back clinch, go down into the forward drive, go down with the forward drive, and down the left stick. And this is good. This is huge, especially in a 3-round fight. I want to secure control. So I'm going to skip past a lot of the controlling moments because, hey, it is what it is. It's not exactly the most exciting thing in the world, but when you're going against Conor, you got to do what you got to do. So a lot of things here with the control, if I'm going to a back mount, he's going to try and transition back into back sitting. If I fake back mount, it's going to actually take me into half guard. And the whole purpose here, I'm trying to see whenever I'm posturing up here, I'm trying to see if half guard is going to open up so I can pass the guard. Usually you need a stamina advantage for that to happen. Sometimes you can have it with a grapple advantage. And that's pretty much all I was doing. I'm like, look, if the guy on bottom doesn't want to be too active to try and get out, that's not on me. He has to do the work. And I was perfectly okay with that, especially in a 3-round fight where it's extremely important to try to win the rounds. So he does a really good job getting this hip bump. I pre-denied up. I thought he was going to go up. He ended up going to that side. Here, it's very important that I stay composed. Right? Throwing out a few feints here. I've already landed a little bit more damage than him in this round, and I got the takedown. There's a good little body spin kick to get him off me. Now a rear hook hits it with a nice little hit stun in the pocket. Here, the block is low. There's not a lot of damage going through, but I gotta be relaxed. There's another sidestep counter that I hit on him, and I land solid damage there. No rot because it's a Zabit's 87 power. Shoot the takedown, hit the L2 triangle, L2 square to build to the back, and then the L2 R1 triangle for the backpack to secure the round yet again. Here I go for the rear naked choke, not because I expected to get it, but just to get those points because I've already won pretty much almost all the exchanges on the feet with the sidestep counters, the hook there, and then the takedowns, and then getting the control time. So already I was off to a good start. Now with any good player, they're going to start either pre-denying, right? Or they're going to start, or they might just fire for front kick and then rock you. I know Kinetic had, he rocked me in our fight with a front. He tried to go for a front kick, it turned to a knee, but it rocked me off the low single. So against the best of the best, you can't be predictable. You got to mix things up. So got a solid round there. I don't think it's enough for a 10-8. I think this one was like a 10-9 or so. Could have been, who knows? So now, second round starts. Intercept the jab. I did this to him in our fight when it was Poirier versus McGregor. Here, I'm like, I'm not going to go for the 3-piece again. And here, this is where he had the most success in the fight. The short-term block is low. I'm using some solid defense there to land some counter jabs myself. But you're just not going to beat Conor in the exchange unless you spinning elbow him. And even that's a little bit too risky. I tried a regular single because I wanted to start trying to hit him with the drive, but he denies it. And he lands again. Some good solid damage there off for the clinch break. And what Jamie likes to do, he likes to hit you with like these pitter-pat 1-2s. He waits a little bit, waits for the stamina to regen, and tries to hit you, intercept you with small amounts of damage there. I sidestep the cross, causing a whiff. And here I hit the low single. This time I decide to bail with the low single. Work a few clinch knees here. He tries to get out. Down back on the left stick again after starting the back drive. One more time. Here, hit a little cheeky little power transition here to the left side because I didn't want him to get up into OU. And here, transfer over to back sitting. And here, just control time. Just control time. Faking a little bit here. He does a good job denying the side saddle attempt. Now I'm into his full guard. Jamie has a really good full guard. He has a really good full guard. He has a good understanding of how to get up with grapple advantage. So it's very imperative that I get patient here. Try to posture up. Try to see if I had a stamina advantage. Unfortunately, it wasn't the case. But here, a minute is already killed on the clock. And here, he had a little bit more success on the feet early. So here he's going for his little lead hook, and he delays the uppercut and then falls up. Here I gotta relax. I don't want to exchange with Conor. I'm blocking, doing a really good job blocking these strikes. And my short-term block is low. Immediately intercept him with a body side kick to land damage because damage is important. The regular low singles denied. I wanted to get him into side control. So here I hit him with the 1-2 Sotogari. The 1-2 being Zabit's best move. It shreds his head off down to like half. And Sotogari was set up beautifully by that. And I take him down with a minute left into the round. So already off to a pretty, so far, under the lights, going off to a really good start here. I don't want him to get going. The whole point is you do not want to let another good player get going. Once a good, solid player starts to get in the zone and it starts to flow and you let their combos flow, you're going to be in for a bad time. And here he goes for the hip bump and actually goes up this time. And this time I denied to his left. And here I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna panic. And you see that he's trying to work my block. He's just trying to lower my short term and then try to blow through with pressure. So I'm trying to stay relaxed. Here, bail again. Here, try to go for the pull guard. He denied the pull guard sweep. Tries to get into, gets it on feet on hips. But the round's over. Got a solid takedowns that round. He started really good early with the exchanges, but I managed to win a few back, especially with that 1-2 Sotogari. Was a really heavy one. Game tells me I have submissions. Usually, if it's not telling you that the fight is close, I'm up. But still, it's very risky. If he knocks me down twice this round, he could win this. So here, like, we missed a touch of gloves, so we just give each other a little respect bow. And here's the heavy combinations of Jamie being extremely careful. He tries to go for the 1-2 head kick because he sees my short-term block is low. That would have dropped me. I try to go for the regular single. Doesn't work. Even though he has low stamina, he denies that easily. So I try to rack up some damage with the spin because he didn't land too much damage early in the pocket there. The block was doing a good job. I evade the jab with the takedown to the bail. This time I go for the backpack. Slams me by pressing X. So there's a slight amount of body damage. There's 4 minutes left in the round. And this is a good spot to be in. He goes up. I deny that transition. I go into the back mount. He inputs, he tries to roll with it. He ends up giving up back sitting. And this is perfect for me. He's not letting me get back mount, so he's giving me back sitting. So that's perfectly fine for me. But that's like the huge thing in these matchups. Here, I transition to back sitting to get to half guard when he's trying to roll into full guard. These matchups, it's extremely important, especially when it comes to Conor, Volk, or any of these high-level strikers. You are not obligated to trade with them. You're not obligated to try and see whose combo is going to beat who first. Got to recognize that those guys are going to win the exchange, especially against a 4-star fighter, and you got to pick your spots accordingly. So he does a really good job here. Getting the denial. And then here, he's trying to overwhelm me with combinations, but good feints from both of us here. He feinted the uppercut. He's trying to get me to sway my head into the hooks. He lands 3 hooks in a row. There, I shoot the double leg bail again and take him to the cage. And here, again, initiate the down drive. And now he's down to side control. Try to transition the side up, but he gets sprawl. And here, I'm perfectly fine here. So here, racking up some shots to the body, hitting him specifically on the liver side. And this is workmanlike effort here. Deny that transition. Go right into backside. Look to control him from here. The Dagestani handcuff, as I like to call it. And the onus is on him to move, posture up, try to land some strikes here through the block. Only a little bit of damage goes through. Again, he tries to roll to full guard. Right back into cycling into back sitting. So, a lot of what Zabit does too when he's on top, or Khabib as well. Here, transition to top mount, winning the positional battle. Now he's trying to transition now. There's about a minute left. And there's not going to be a lot going on here. You know, there's a lot of trying to work GA, trying to get some strikes off. He's in full guard. Gonna deny that transition. Being extremely patient. Here, he's going to stall out the clock because I had a pretty solid feeling there's no way in hell I could have lost this. I'm going to end off with the leg lock submission. Just try to rack up some points. It's not going to do too much, but it's just going to secure it more in my favor. And it's tough. It's extremely tough because trying to go with a grapple-heavy game plan, especially against somebody as high-level as Jamie, it just takes one mistake, especially with somebody as powerful and as uber-accurate as McGregor. It's just extremely tough. So I took a big chance with this. And the game is showing my highlights, showing the takedowns that I got with Mr. Dagestani handcuff. Zabit Magomed, and I came to really discipline with this game plan. I had to make sure, like right there, that second round I felt was definitely pretty close, but rounds 1 and 3 were pretty solid. I'd say round 3 was borderline at 10-8 there.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for a decision. The judges score the contest 29-28, 30-26, and 30-26.
There you have it, 29-28 and 30-26. Gonna leave a link in the description for Jamie's channel. We're definitely gonna meet again, especially with the way the esports is growing. ESFL and the UFC have done a really great job letting high-level players showcase their skills on the Twitch channel, and all the gamers on EA UFC really appreciate the opportunity. Hope you guys enjoyed that fight. Next week, the final esports event for PS4. Let's see if I get the job done against my next opponent. Bear 17, I'm out of here.